what I'd like to do now is to show you what happens and how the unit operates when you connect your power. First of all, I go to a power source, make sure the unit is off, connect the AC, plug in the other end of the remote sensing unit to its proper receptacle. Again, it locks into place. Before I turn it on, however, I'd like to briefly explain how this will work. The principle that allows it to detect gas is called diffusion. What will happen when I turn the power on is that we'll have a current flow through the connections in the remote sensing unit to the sensor. This causes the sensor to warm up slightly. When it is warmed up, this will enable it to sense gas, again, at a minimum of 10% of the LEL of methane. While the sensor is warming up, the unit will go through a self-check routine. And what I mean by that is the red light will start to flash on the remote. You will get your green indicator, of course, to indicate that the power is connected. And on the CMU, you'll get your amber lamp when we turn the unit on. You'll get a red light indication, and you will hear the alarm. Now, normally this warm-up routine would only happen if the unit had not been used that particular day. Until the sensor develops its necessary warmth and gets to operating temperature, so to speak, the unit will go through this routine. If you are using this in very hot weather, the sensor might have enough warmth to enable it to operate properly, and it might not go through that routine. But let's see what happens. I haven't had mine on, and it's fairly mild where I am. I'm going to turn the unit on. We see the amber indication on the central monitoring unit. You see the green indication that the power is on to the remote. Obviously, you see this red light flashing and hear the alarm. When this red light stops flashing, that indicates to you that the sensor is at its operating temperature, which it just went out. This will now allow you to reset the alarm. So that only took a short time. Normally this warm-up period is accomplished in less than 20 seconds. Again, if it's really cold out, it might be a little bit longer, but in normal weather, within 20 seconds. So this would be the indication to the user that the unit is now ready to go. We have the green light on the remote, and we have the amber light on the central monitoring unit to indicate that the power is connected to both. Now, sometimes I'm also asked, what about this power connection? I have 110, 115 volts coming into the unit, and I'm using this in a wet environment, which a manhole usually is. Well, to further protect the user, what happens is at the central monitoring unit, that 110, 115 is stepped down and converted to 12 volts DC. It's further stepped down and converted at the remote sensing unit to about 7.5 volts DC. So there's your protection. And again, the unit is fused for both AC and DC. Now, it's very important daily that you do this kind of self-check to make sure that all the components and all the light indicators are working properly. There is another check, however, that is really required and really necessary for you to do every day, and that is a quick check against a known gas to make sure that the unit will read gas properly when you're at the job site. It is also our recommendation that this check be done immediately before use at the job site. Very important. Some companies have a requirement that they do these checks in the garage. That's all well and good. If you do that, it's still a strong recommendation that another quick check be done immediately before use at the job site. Now, to accomplish that quick check, a quick check kit is provided. The quick check kit consists of a bottle of test gas, which is called quick check gas. That's a mixture of 5,000 parts per million of methane in air. Also, as part of the kit, you're going to get a little short connecting hose, and I'll show you how to use this in a couple of seconds. There'll also be a regulator valve provided. That consists of the quick check kit, those three components. Also offered is a quick check carrying bag. We advocate its use so that you can keep all your components in one handy container. Now, to do the quick check, and I'll explain how this system works. When you get a brand new bottle of gas from U-TECK, you will get an indication of about 200 pounds per square inch of pressure on this gauge. Screw it in hand tight like I did, and check the indication of this red arrow. Again, a brand new bottle will give you about 200 pounds of pressure. As you do your daily tests or your tests before use, obviously you'll use some of the gas, and that red indicator will drop to the 0 range. When it gets close to the 0 range, it's time to think about getting a new bottle. On the other side of the regulator is a Schrader valve. This is very similar to a heavy-duty truck tire valve that when you depress the little needle in here, I'll do it with my finger, you get a flow of gas. What I'm going to be doing, and I won't do it tight just yet, but I'm going to be connecting this short connecting hose to the Schrader valve. I'm going to then take the other end of the hose and place it in the center opening of where the sensor is housed. Then, once I make those connections, I'm going to connect this fully to get a flow of gas. If the unit is calibrated and adjusted properly, I should get an alarm indication within about 20 seconds. So let's see what happens. I'll make my connection. I have a flow of gas. I'm mentally counting now. I'm up to about 3 or 4 seconds. That was just about 9 seconds, well within the range. Now I know that the unit alarms properly. I'll disconnect my gas so I don't waste it. And you can see that almost immediately the unit has purged itself. The red light went out, and I can now reset the alarm.